The New England Patriots are undoubtedly looking to the 2025 NFL Draft to upgrade their offense. But is the generational talent in this draft really on the defensive side of the ball? Stick around. You're about to kick off Combine Week by staying locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. I'm your host, Mike Debate, and I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country. So reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots social media style, please follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Pats fans, it's a special week here on Locked On Patriots because not only are we kicking off our coverage of the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine, we are kicking off our 6th season of Mock Draft Monday right here on the Locked On Patriots podcast. All of your great work, all of your insightful mock drafts that you submit here to Locked On Patriots have the chance to make it here to the airwaves. And of course, I say we because there is only one man who could ride shotgun with me throughout this entire 6-year journey and be able to lend the wisdom, the counsel, the wit, and the grit the way only he can when it comes to draft coverage. My good friend, the Counter Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy. Thank you for coming to me in friendship today, especially on Mock Draft Monday. Don Murph.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's right, folks. Not Christmas. It's mock draft season. It's mock draft Monday. We're back. The OG is back. Often imitated, never duplicated.
Never duplicated.
Absolutely. We're not giving you our mock drafts. We're giving you your mock drafts. We're grading you. And we got some fantastic ones to kick off the season, didn't we, Michael?
We absolutely do. We have 3 that will definitely catch the eye of Patriots Nation, and it wouldn't be Mock Draft Monday. We wouldn't be kicking off Mock Draft season without giving a well-deserved tip of the cap to the innovator of Mock Draft Monday, my good friend, Mark Schofield. When I first took the reins here on Locked On Patriots in August of 2019, obviously I was a fan just like everyone else, and I listened to Mark break down some of the great mock drafts that his listeners would submit. And one of the things that I asked him right off the bat, Murph, was, will you allow me to take that Mock Draft Monday concept and incorporate it into our show? And Mark kind of looked at me and he says, Mike, he says, I wouldn't have it any other way. He says, I would have been surprised if you didn't want to take that in. And it really is such a rewarding part of being host of this show. Murph has been alongside me for every step of this journey. You know what, bud? Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it because there are a lot of prospects that New England Patriots fans are going to be keeping their sharp eye on this week as the festivities unfold at Lucas Oil Stadium. And if we're going to start the mock draft process and we're going to give you our first mock draft of the year, Murph, I don't think there is anyone that has been waiting longer, other than you and I, to kick off mock draft season than our good friend LJ. LJ has been sending us mock drafts since October. So I think that right now, if there's anybody that deserves to kick off this season, it's our good friend at show_1. Follow him on social media, folks. LJ is truly one of the great guys. He really is.
Stick around because once we get into the trades, it's no holds barred. And we're
Trader LJ will be in full effect. But I'm glad you mentioned trades, Murph, because for the first couple of weeks that we accept mock drafts, because obviously we're going to be doing this right through late April when the draft is ready to kick off. So keep sending those in, folks. Each and every week you have an opportunity to share your work and have it shared here on these airwaves and also on YouTube and wherever you might be viewing these podcasts. Turn on the big screen. You might see your own work featured right here on Locked On Patriots. But for the first couple of weeks, we try to feature drafts that don't include trades. And that's not because we don't want to feature your creative work. It just gives us an opportunity to provide a little bit more of a cross-section of talent here. So that way you're not taking some of these picks, packaging them, sending them to another team, and lessening the haul that the Patriots have currently. So right now, for the first couple of weeks, we're going to be focusing on drafts that don't include trades. when we reinstitute the trade machine, you'll be the first to know, and that's when we really want to see your
Right.
creativity, and that's when it really comes alive, Murph. But let's get LJ cracking here. Let's get him
Yep.
up and running. And Murph, right off the bat, as you can see, LJ is wasting no time in adding
None.
generational talent here
Right.
to the New England Patriots, and that is cornerback slash hybrid wide receiver, Travis Hunter. Now, we know that Travis is listing himself as a cornerback for the festivities this week in Indianapolis. However, everybody knows that this kid is going to have eyes on him when it comes to being a cornerback and when it comes to being a receiver. So that begs the question, Murph. Today, I opened the show by saying that the generational talent in this draft may actually be on the defensive side of the ball,
Yep.
despite all the Patriots' offensive needs, and we know them all. But I do believe that right now, if you're looking for that game changer type talent, it's going to have to come on defense. Before we get into grading LJ's individual selections here,
Yep.
when you look at this draft, do you agree with that assessment?
Oh, without a doubt. I think five of the top 10 players in this draft are definitely on the defensive side, or ten of the top 15 are on the defensive side of the ball. There's the, aforementioned Travis Hunter. Of course, there's Abdul Carter, Will Johnson over there
Mm,
in Michigan. It gets to be, even Mason Graham over at Michigan, is going to end up being, a top 10 pick in this draft, and
mm.
and that comes with, I'm not going to be surprised when this thing happens. It's the defensive side of the ball is where a lot of the talent lays in this draft, and it's deep. Okay, so that's why I'm saying it in my own estimation. If you're going to get the top tier offensive talent, you've got to do it early.
For the benefit of those of you that are listening to the podcast, not viewing it on YouTube, obviously at number 4, cornerback out of Colorado, Travis Hunter tops LJ's draft, but
Yep.
he's not done there, folks. At number 38 in the second round, Josh Connerly Jr.,
Right.
offensive tackle out of Oregon, goes to the New England Patriots. LJ stays on the offensive line at number 69, Wyatt Milliam out of West Virginia. Of course, little nod to Claire Cooper here. The tight endage getting a little love for the Patriots at number 77. Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. Patriots finally get a wideout. And I think this is amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing that LJ controlled himself to take a wide receiver and wait to number 105 to do it, Murph.
Yeah.
He did it here. Jalen Noel out of Iowa State, a very good pick out of 105. I'll be shocked if he's there at 105. But you know what?
Yeah.
Play the board as it lies.
Right.
Excellent job here, LJ. Going into the latter rounds at number 145, another one I'd be shocked if he's there at 145.
Yeah.
Dorian Strong, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. At number 219, Quay Robinson, the edge rusher out of Alabama, goes to the Pats. At number 222, Kaimon Rucker, edge rusher out of North Carolina. A couple of pass rushers there for the New
Yeah.
England Patriots. And then rounding it all up at number 240, defensive lineman, giving you a little bit of beef up front out of Notre Dame, Howard Cross the third.
Right.
So, Murph, we're going to grade LJ's draft in entirety in just a moment, but I think we'd be remiss not to begin with Travis Hunter. Obviously, we talk about
Right.
generational talent. This kid is generational talent. If he's sitting there at number 4, and again, I think that's a long shot right now,
Yep.
considering what we're hearing from the top 3 teams. But if he's sitting there at number 4, even though the Patriots need so many different weapons, I
Right.
don't see how you bypass this guy.
No, neither do I. I mean, if you can get anything out of him on the offensive side of the ball, it's going to be, if you can talk him into it, it's going to be the home run of this draft. The only problem is that he doesn't really seem to gravitate to that side of the ball, and I love it. I love it. Um, if Travis Hunter ends up a Patriot, man, I will be thrilled. I will
Yeah.
dance naked down the main street of my hometown, and I just don't think he's going to end up falling there. I do believe he's going to be one of the top 2 picks in this draft. I really think that he's going to end up a Cleveland Brown.
Mm.
And But no, LJ, you've got to did one of the rules. The rules are the rules, them's the rules. If the guy's there, you've got to take him. You can't think that It's not going to happen if he's there in the mock that you're doing. And LJ scooped him up. LJ did a fantastic job in throughout this entire draft, and I just love this pick at the top. It also it gives me great thought in knowing how well LJ incorporates the entire offseason process. If the Patriots do this, it's because they took care of business in free agency and grabbed me a couple of tackles. Right.
Such an important point to make, Murph. Everything that the Patriots do in the draft is going to
Yep.
be a reaction from what they've done in free agency.
Eat your
When you have,
vegetables, you get your dessert.
I love the analogy because it's exactly what the Patriots need to
Yep.
do. Take care of business in mid-March, and then in April, you can take the chance of getting generational
Right.
talent and bringing in best players available on the board to be able to build around and build a solid core around guys like Drake May and Christian Gonzalez, who are going to be here for a number of
Yep.
years. But you need the savvy veterans to be able to do that. Patriots need a lot of help on those lines.
Right.
So Travis Hunter,
And you're going to have to do that because
yeah,
LJ's second and third pick, he bookend a couple of tackles. Well done, because the depth is needed. All right, so even after taking care of business in free agency, I like the bookend picks that he has going on at the tackle position in 2 and 3.
I agree with you. I love what Connerly and Milliam bring. I think there
Yep.
is a yin and a yang type quality to these two players. Down the line with some good coaching and a little bit of seasoning, these guys can develop into starters, but they're not day one starters. And the
No.
Patriots need day one starters. You saw what the line looked like last year. We all did. And to repeat that would be a major offense to Drake May. And I think he would take it as such. So, bottom line, folks, if you're drafting players like Connerly and Milliam, you're setting yourself up very well
Right.
for the future. But it's what's going to be done in the interim that's really going to determine the Patriots' success here. So, Murph, if we're saying that Travis Hunter is obviously the gem of this draft, I don't think anyone would dispute that. If we're saying that both Connerly and Milliam are the solid picks to back him up, when you look at the remainder of the draft, starting with number 77 with Elijah Arroyo, the tight end out of Miami, finishing it up with Howard Cross out of Notre Dame on the defensive line, who would you say is the most intriguing pick that LJ has levied here with his haul to kick off Mock Draft Monday?
Cameron Rucker.
Hmm.
I love what he brings to the table. A lot of people are calling him a tweener, and that's just fine in this brand of the NFL. I'm really good with that. He's had some injury issues, but the motor is there. The edge setting is there. Going, the ball needy, sack hungry, you know, famished type of individual is there. I like that. I like that grab at that point. You're going to have to wait on him. He's coming back from a fractured leg, semi-fracture, and it's going to be a slower process. But grabbing him there, you can allow this kid to heal up and become something.
Yeah, Rucker, I think, is a very intriguing prospect, especially when you look at the Patriots' need along the edge. You need guys that are explosive, that can get after the quarterback. This kid has raw talent, and I believe that Patriots coaching staff, if utilizing him correctly, could do something there. So I'm glad that you're intrigued by Rucker, and I share your curiosity on him. My intriguing pick is at number 145, and that is Darian Strong out of Virginia
Okay.
Tech. This kid, to me, is a prototypical press man coverage cornerback. He's got the long limbs, he's got the agility, and he also has the strength to be able to make things happen at the catch point. That's where he's at his best. Where he starts to come off the rails a little bit is when he needs to start staying in stride with his receiver. That
Yep.
can cause a little bit of problems with him when he has to swivel, when he has to pivot, when he needs to change his stride a bit. He's been known to lose his target, and
Right.
unfortunately, it can lead to some separation
He's
between he
small.
and the receiver. So at this point, when you look at Strong, I'm a little surprised that this pick would be made unless you're going for best player on the board. I'm a little surprised that this would be
Yeah.
the pick when Travis Hunter obviously is your guy. I think at this
Right.
point, if you've got that solid starting corner, and let's face it, I do believe that, like you said, Hunter will be a cornerback in the NFL maybe a gadget wide receiver, maybe a guy
Right.
that comes in for, plays here and there to kind of help keep an opponent's defense honest. Strong, in my opinion, is someone that can play the perimeter. And I think with a little bit of extra coaching, he could be a very solid perimeter corner, but I think it's a little redundant here with this pick. So that's why that's intriguing to me. LJ, if you were going for best player available,
Right.
yeah, I don't think 145 is a bad spot
No.
for Dorian Strong. I'd be surprised if he's there. But once again, if you're drafting him, you're drafting from a position of strength, and that's going to solidify that cornerback position for
Right.
many years to come. And that leads me quite nicely into my final question for you on LJ's draft. It's grading time, my friend. What
Yep.
would you give LJ for this overall haul to kick off 2025 mock draft season here on Locked On Patriots?
This is a solid A draft.
Yeah.
I've got no problem giving LJ an A. I probably would have gone A plus if he had addressed the linebacker situation at all, LJ. You know, but no, it's a solid A draft. And Howard Cross down there at 240, man, that's a big individual. That I think will end up making the squad. If you can grab somebody at 240 that isn't going to be sitting on the practice squad and has a chance to actually play for your team this year, you did great.
Absolutely. You absolutely did do great. And I agree with you on your assessment. I'm grading LJ an A on this one. Obviously, if you lead off by getting Travis Hunter at number
Right.
4, that's an A right there. Picking up guys like Connerly, picking up someone like a Jalen Noel who can help to bolster your receiver core, getting some tight endage help in Elijah Arroyo, one of the more underrated tight ends in this draft.
Yep.
And then again, Dorian Strong, I know maybe I came down a little hard on LJ. I do believe that if you're going to run a man-heavy scheme, he
Yeah.
could end up being a starter with the right coaching. So this is clearly a solid pick, no question about it. I just wonder whether or not the Patriots' depth at the position may have led him to go in a different direction, like a linebacker, like you said. But overall, LJ, excellent job and way to kick off Mock Draft Monday here on Locked On
There you go.
Patriots. But Murph, we're not even close to being
No.
done yet. We got 2 great mock drafts on tap. The next one is also going to feature some defensive talent. And it starts off with arguably the top defensive player in this draft. I say arguably, folks, because we're going to argue that point in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch 3, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots as we kick off Mock Draft Monday in the 2025 NFL draft cycle. Scouting Combine beginning this week, but we're getting you primed and giving you a preview by featuring your great work. All of you everydayers, all of you mock draft submitters out there have a chance to have your great work showcased here and broken down by yours truly. And who else would join me here on this Mock Draft Monday but the man who has been beside me for the past 6 years grading your mock drafts each and every Monday, and that is my good friend, the legend himself, Thomas Murphy of DieHardBostonSportsFans.com. Murph, LJ kicked us off in true fashion. He definitely swung for the fences, and he got an A out of both of us to start mock draft season. So not a bad way to kick off, but our everydayers were not about to be outdone, and one of our most valued everydayers, our good friend Ava from Rhode Island,
Right.
has been toiling especially hard to try to develop the perfect mock draft. And when she submitted this, she claims that this is about as close as she could get to remaining within the boundaries of realism. I'm quoting her verbatim, folks. So, you
Okay.
know what? In that case, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into Ava's draft haul here on Locked On Patriots. And at number 4, Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter goes to your New England Patriots. Now, Murph, I know we've got a lot of people out there that would love to see Abdul Carter in a Patriots uniform. Again, dropping the number 4 might be a challenge. And we're going to get into why in just a moment. But in number 38, obviously, Ava has addressed the offensive line in a big
Yep.
way. One of Murph's favorite prospects, one of my
Right.
favorites, Ariante Ursary, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota. At number 69, this raised an eyebrow of mine.
Yeah.
We'll get into this one as well. Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU. A lot of upside here, but there are some drawbacks. We'll get into those in just a moment. Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU, going at number 77. At number 105, Ozzie Trapilo, the hometown kid himself, offensive tackle out of Boston College. Patriots dip into the cornerback realm at number 145. Oregon's Jabbar Muhammad joins the fold. At number 219, someone you had your eye on, Murph, at the running back position out of
Yep.
Georgia, Trevor Etienne goes to the Pats. At number 222, offensive guard from North Carolina, Willie Lampkin. Murph is smiling. You can't see it right now because obviously our overlay
Right.
is up there. And at number 240, kicker out of the University of
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Ben Sauls. So interesting how Ava has been able to dip
Yeah.
into some of these needs and wants for the New England Patriots. Murph, obviously, this is going to be an interesting overall grade, but let's start with the pick at number 4. Abdul Carter is
Right.
already generating generational talent type praise from a lot of draft analysts. I had the great fortune of sitting in the Locked On NFL Squad show earlier last week with Keith Sanchez, one of the top draft minds in this business. And he called Abdul Carter the most generational talent in this draft. If the New England Patriots can pull this off, what does it mean for that Patriots defense?
We're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. That's what it's going to mean.
Hmm.
Bringing a talent like Abdul Carter, no matter where you're going to play him, I believe Carter is kind of a tweener.
Mhm.
Okay, and at the next level, he's gonna. But if you're gonna set him up out wide and allow him to go hunt quarterbacks, man, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch the
Mhm.
Patriots next year. It really is, and there's a good chance that one of these two guys that we've been talking about over the last two mocks that we're going through, Hunter and now Carter. There's a good chance that one of these guys is going to be there.
Mhm.
And we talked that at this point, you need game changers, you need generational guys. I believe that Abdul Carter is a game changer. I
Mhm.
don't know if he's generational or not yet. I've seen all the film you guys have talked about. It's just his size that gives me a little bit of pause. It really is. Carter is like I said, he's a tweener, but we could end up that could play to his advantage, whether it's playing out on the edge or you move him into as a middle linebacker and watch him stuff runs that way. At the college level, he's been able to do everything. I
Mhm.
mean, everything. It's just is he going to be able to do that when he's going up against guys that are 6'6" and weigh 370 pounds?
Mhm.
350 pounds. The speed is really going to come into the effect because you can't at his size you can't just bully people.
Right.
And right now he's been able to do that. Sorry, just
Mhm.
the way I keep it.
Oh, absolutely. And these are all valid concerns, and they are concerns that are brought up by some of the top draft minds in the business as well. So you find yourself in good company. And Murph, I put you in that regard any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So great insight on that as well, my friend. I love what Ava did here with Ariante Ursary because if you could pick him
Right.
up at number 38 in the second
Yeah.
round without having to move back up, this is huge. This kid, I think, does have the type of ability to maybe even crack the starting lineup in year one if he's coached properly. That's a
Right.
big if, but if he's coached properly, and I think Doug Marrone is the guy to do it, this kid could find his way into a starting lineup. What would Ariante Ursary mean for this Patriots offensive line?
Stability right away. I do think that he has a chance to be a fantastic swing guy right out of the gate. But again, I think that the Patriots are going to have to eat their vegetables and get
Mm,
starting caliber tackles. And I don't want to thrust him right in on the left hand side to protect Drake May. I think he can learn and grow and become that guy, but I don't think he's that guy right now. The film that I've seen of him, he plays too upright. Okay,
mm,
he doesn't have a fantastic punch. I'm sorry to get cliche, all
mm.
right, on you. And he's a little over aggressive in the run game. These are things that can be. There's a lot of issues with him that can be coached out. And do the Patriots have the men there to do it? He's got the prototypical size. He's 6 foot
Right.
6, he's 340, 345. You can put him out there, and I like his footwork, but I'm just not sure that he's a day one starter. Again, the Patriots would have to take care of business in uh, in free agency to make this work.
Mm.
But it's a
Good
great
point.
pick.
Yeah.
I love the guy.
Yeah, good point. And again, there's going to be pros, there's going to be cons to most of the prospects that we break
Right.
down here on Locked On Patriots. Whether or not those pros outweigh the cons is whether or not these picks will be successful. So it's always good to hear some of the opposite sides, some of the real true scouting that I know my good buddy Murph does each and every day to make sure he's ready to provide you honest and in-depth analysis on all of these players.
Yep.
Here's where things get interesting to me, Murph. I'm looking at Savion Williams out of TCU, and I'm intrigued. I'm not negatively intrigued. I'm not positively intrigued. I'm just intrigued at this point. A couple of friends of mine are big TCU Horned Frog fans, and they told
Okay.
me about this kid and said, keep an eye on him. He's someone that you want to watch. He's got, tremendous speed and burst and all of that. He absolutely does. You look at Savion Williams, and he leaps off the page when it comes to some of the
Yep.
talent that he's able to provide. Speaking to my colleague Kyle Krebs over the weekend, and again, folks, one of the better draft minds you'll find anywhere right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Kyle's been doing this for a number of years, and
Yep.
he compared Savion to Cordero Patterson. I love the
Okay.
way he's giving him that ability to be able to potentially be a jet sweep weapon, but most of all,
Yep.
someone that can beat you with that long stride, someone that can use his length, his ability to get out in front of his defender. There is a drawback to that as well, though. Sometimes that ability to get out in front, I think, hinders his route running ability. And this is where I'm concerned about Savion coming in and trying to be that number one, take the top off the defense type of receiver. I don't think that's what he's
No.
going to be here in New England. And I don't know if it's necessarily the best fit for a Josh McDaniels offense. The other thing that I'm a little worried about when it comes to this kid, drop rate. It exceeds 10% for his entire career. You
Thank you.
already have guys that are having difficulty keeping your hands on the ball. I think Savion Williams, with a little bit of coaching, I think with a lot of hard work, can be a very successful receiver in the NFL. And I think he has the buddings for what could be a great career in the NFL. I'm just not sure New England is the place to do it right now.
Yeah, he's a first round talent here in the third round, and there's a reason he's in the third round, and Michael just brought it up. Elite athletic talent and my hands. All right,
Mm,
we've got guys that drop the ball all the time, and he's just somebody that does not. He loses concentration, and the ball slips out. I don't. I'm not in love with him. I'm not
mm.
in love with him. But as I said, here in the third round, you can take the shot.
Yeah, I think at third round at this point, if you're going into this draft knowing that this kid is a work in progress, if you take this shot, I wouldn't be dead set against it. But I think if you're placing a lot on his shoulders to come in and
Right.
be a contributor this season, I think it's going to be a disappointing pick.
Right. And as Mike said, I don't know if it's a fit in the Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady
Mm,
system. I
yeah.
really don't. I want somebody that runs a little crisper routes than this kid does. It's too many rounded off. He misses spots that he should be in. A lot of the times and when facing zone coverage, I've seen him run into the zone,
Mm,
completely ignore the soft spot and
mm.
just keep running his pattern. And that's something that can't happen in this system. I would have gone in a different direction.
So the top end of the draft, the top 3 rounds, you look at the New England Patriots so far, a pretty good haul, especially when you're
Yep.
hauling away Abdul Carter as your crown jewel of the draft. But Mason Taylor at the tight end position, Ozzie Trapilo at the tackle, Jabbar
Yep.
Muhammad, Trevor Etienne, Willie Lampkin, and Ben Sauls rounding out the mix. Which of these names pops out at you, Murph, as a potential eye opener when it comes to grading Ava's draft here?
Well, Trevor Etienne is somebody that I really love and I want to
Mhm.
see in a Patriots uniform. And this kid is it. He just needs the time to get it. And I love Willie Lumpkin. I thought Ben Sauls there down at the bottom was a fantastic pick.
Me too.
And but let's move back up just outside the top 100. She grabbed Ozzie Trapilo out of BC. This is a good pick right there, and
Yeah.
that kind of stands out to me.
Murph, it's grading time on Ava's draft. Once again, folks, for the benefit of those of you watching on YouTube, here's a final look at her haul, start to finish. I don't know. I got to be honest with you, Murph. I think I'm going with another A on this. I think this is an excellent haul of talent. Some stretches. We talked about Williams
Yep.
specifically as a stretch, but I think overall, I think she's done a great job of stocking the cupboards here in Foxborough. What say you?
Yeah, I did. I like what she did at the top of the draft. I like what she did late. We've talked about Ozzy at length before. I'm going to give this draft a B plus.
Great assessment, and I think Ava would be proud of that. I think she would be
I
proud of an
hope
A
so.
and a B plus. This is one of her first submissions when it comes to mock drafts. Very much an everydayer when it comes to the mailbag, but she wanted to toss her hat into the ring on this one. Toiled especially hard, and I know she did a great job. So Ava, tip of the cap. Thank you for a great draft submission.
Drink.
But Murph, we're not done yet because we
Nope.
got one more, a first timer, and he made it all the way up to day one on Mock Draft Monday. Our good friend Justin from New Hampshire
Yeah.
wants to know what the Patriots might do if they went to the trenches with number 4. That's right, folks. A little line love to start off this last mock draft here on Mock Draft Monday when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Pats fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Mock Draft Monday. It is day one, unofficially day one, of the start of the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. We're getting you ready by previewing the Combine with some of your great work out there. And I'm pointing at all of you everydayers, all of you occasional listeners, and all of you first-timers. We are thrilled to be breaking down your mock drafts right here on Mock Draft Monday. I say we because joining me here today is the man who Mock Draft Monday was created for, my good friend Thomas Murphy of DieHardBostonSportsFans.com. Murph, so far we've gotten 2 great mock drafts to kick things off here. LJ always knocks it out of the park. He spends a lot of time wondering how he's going to infuse talent into this New England Patriots team. I was impressed by another everydayer, Ava from Rhode Island, who submitted her great work. And of course, anytime I can showcase the work from my home state, I'm going to take the opportunity to do it. But we go to the Granite State for our final submission, and a very recent subscriber to Locked On Patriots, who, by his own admission, is submitting his first mock draft, made it all the way to the first cut. And I think this was an interesting cut because it included a bevy of players that we haven't had the chance to break down yet here on Locked On Patriots. So, Murph, for the benefit of those not viewing our podcast on YouTube, our good friend Justin from New Hampshire has the Patriots taking defensive tackle from Michigan, Mason Graham, with a number 4 overall pick. This is aggressive. I like it, but it has its drawbacks. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But he doesn't stop with some of the interesting and intriguing picks from there. At number 38, again, potential first-round talent here, the wide receiver out of Texas, Isaiah Bond. He addresses the tackle position with a couple of no-nonsense tackles. Colin Pierce out of Rutgers at number 69. Anthony Belton, who had himself a great showing during the bowl season to kick off draft season at number 77, the tackle out of NC State. Dorian Strong, a gentleman we've talked about already here on Locked On Patriots, going at number 105 at the cornerback position. Fadil Diggs, the edge rusher out of Syracuse at number 145. Luke Lachey, maybe the value pick of this haul, the tight end out of Iowa, going at number
Right.
219. Shiloh Sanders, the safety out of Colorado, he gets the nod at number 222. And Donovan Edwards, running back out of Michigan, getting the call at 240. So Michigan picks bookending this
Yeah.
draft.
Why not?
Murph, obviously, championships are won in the trenches. We're
Yep.
firm believers in that. But usually when you're going this high and you're looking at generational type talent, you're probably going to go for more high profile positions. In the previous two mock drafts we discovered today, that was the case. Cornerback position, Travis Hunter, he goes number 4 in LJ's draft. Abdul Carter, an edge rusher, he goes number 4 in Ava's draft. When you look at Mason Graham, you look at his potential, and you look at his potential fit in New England, does this pick make sense to you? What could it mean for the Patriots defense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me just simply because we don't know where Christian Barmore is and what's going to happen there. Graham is a immediate impact player, an immediate starter. He's a guy that could be here in New England for a decade. All right, and I love this pick. I really do. As I've said before, it starts in the trenches, and this kid has it all. He has it all.
Yeah.
We talked about the fact that most of the star power this year is on the defensive side of the ball. He's one of the guys that shines brightest.
Yeah, he absolutely does. And that's why I think you're seeing Mason Graham work his way up drafts and mock drafts on a national level. And some people are projecting that the Patriots may have a solid interest.
Nope.
And again, I think you make such a great point about Christian Barmore. We all want to see him back in New England, folks, no question. But if he is going to be sidelined potentially long term, then the Patriots need an answer at that line, because you saw the defensive line. The defensive line play in 2024 was abysmal. Patriots need to upgrade that. Mason Graham would absolutely do it.
And if Barmore comes back, all the better, man. Just build a bully. Just build a bully. You know, we talked a couple of weeks ago about what you can learn from the Eagles championship, the Super Bowl played a few weeks ago. Build a bully. What they were able to do, rushing 4 and dropping everybody back into coverage, this kid will allow that to will help allow that to happen, especially if Barmore comes back healthy and strong.
At number 38, the wide receiver out of Texas, Isaiah Bond. Murph, this kid has been floating around as a potential first-round talent. Speed is there. The flash is there. If the Patriots pick him up at number 38, this looks like a steal. Are there any concerns that you have with this kid at the pro level that could hinder his ability to be a solid weapon for Drake?
Again, a bit undersized, and he's 180 pounds, and I don't know if he could. He's going to be able to get off against physical press coverage. Everybody always expected more out of this kid. You looked at him, you watch him practice, you watch his film, and they expected more than what they got. So I'm not a huge fan of guys who underachieve, and I think he's underachieved a little bit. Make no doubt, man, this is a burner. But the problem is he's been able to get away with being a burner. All right, he has good hands, and but the route running needs to be a little bit. His tree is limited at this point in time, and this guy's another Z receiver.
Yeah, we're being brutally honest, Murph. The place where the Patriots need the most help is at the X right now.
At the X.
You know, you can make the argument of whether or not you can mold this kid into that. I don't know. I think it would take some amazing coaching to be able to do it. Yeah,
I'm tired of molding. I'm tired of guys who make great grabs at the high point. You know, he high points balls and stuff. I want separators, and this kid could be a separator. I don't need it at the Z spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. I need it at the X.
Once again, I think our listeners, and Justin is no exception, really tap into the fact that they need to address the offensive tackle position. They got a couple of solid guys at 69 and 77. Holland Pierce out of Rutgers, Anthony Belton out of NC State. Your thoughts on these gentlemen?
Holland Pierce is a massive individual.
Yes.
Just a massive individual.
A mountain of a man.
A mountain of a man. Another guy with potential, but isn't going to. Neither of these guys is going to end up starting. Day one. I loved Holland Pierce. Anthony Belton, that we've talked about at length over the past month. There's Dorian Strong again. I think that what what Justin's been able to do is once again capitalize and bring in depth, because both Pierce and Belton are better than what the Patriots have on the roster right now as
Yes.
depth pieces.
Once again, Murph, it is grading time. And for a last look at Justin's haul, here we go, starting with Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan at number 4, right down to Donovan Edwards, the running
Right.
back from Michigan out of 240. What do you think of Justin's draft here? How did the first timer do for his first submission here on Locked On Patriots?
I think he did a fantastic job. This is a solid B plus. Okay, he looked at the board. He saw what the Patriots were going to need. I love the pick of Mason Graham. He went out on a limb a little bit, and I applaud that. Isaiah Bond, we're not too sure about, but I love Holland Pierce and Belton as depth pieces. He looked at the Patriots depth chart, and he took that into account. Like I said, both of these guys are better than what the Patriots have right now at those positions. I really like Donovan Edwards at 240.
Yeah.
I really do. It was a brilliant pick. He is going to end up being there. He's got a great burst in acceleration, and he good size and strength, which is going to really fit well here in Josh McDaniel's system. I'm giving this a solid B plus.
Yeah, I give it a solid B plus as well. I really love the talent from start to finish. Overall, folks, I think 3 great mock drafts to kick off our season. A special tip of the cap to LJ, to Ava, and to Justin for great submissions. But folks, keep them coming in. Keep them coming in throughout the week. And once again, we are going to kick fully into gear to continue to get you ready for all of the necessary information you're going to need to make your combine coverage complete. So stay right here and keep it locked in to Locked On Patriots. In the meantime, on behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.